And welcome back to another episode of Generation Sports. I'm your host, the monster on the mic, Sheck Monster. And once again, I got with me here Gronk's Eskimo brother. Let's kick it off and get this show started. All right. So last week we did a little bit of tight end talk. We went over rankings, a little bit about, where to maybe draft and positions and stuff like that. So this week we're going to go ahead and we're going to break down the quarterbacks, the guy who's going to get them the ball. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to, talk about our rankings a little bit, and we're going to break them down, discuss them, and we'll get into a couple other things as well. So without further ado, I guess I'll just go ahead. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first? You go first this time.
I mean, it doesn't matter who goes first. We already know who's going to be the number one player.
Exactly. So why don't you go ahead and jump off?
So in our expert rankings, we have Patrick Mahomes. No surprise as number one. He's going to be one in every single league. In my 16-team IDP, he's going to be a top 5 pick. Now, in 12-team PPR redrafts, what we do, he's not going to be a first-round pick. He'll probably be a second-round pick, but still he'll be that quarterback that will adjust the draft and when you take the next quarterback.
I think that's a good point, is that quarterback drafting, usually it's like anything. Once somebody pulls the trigger on the first one,
right?
Usually, if it depends, like if it's absolutely at the end of the second round, it would be in the third round. But let's say it's the first pick of the third round. I guarantee at that point on a lot of drafts, then there's at least two more.
You're talking 301?
I'm just saying. I'm just using an example. There's probably at least three more. There's at least two more quarterbacks coming out in that round, right? Because once somebody pulls the trigger on the first one, the other ones are soon to follow. So Definitely agree. But I think you're right. We don't need to talk about it. Patrick Mahomes, number one, clear favorite, clear cut. Him and Kelsey, right? They're like, we already know who the number ones are. So what else you got?
But the same thing though with Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey, like you just said, they're going to trigger. Hey, when do I take my quarterback?
Oh,
if
absolutely.
I want a high one, when do I take my next one?
Correct.
Yeah. So the longer you wait on that first person to take Patrick Mahomes is the longer the next quarterback's going to be drafted. So it'll adjust your strategy throughout.
Yep. All right. What else you got? Go ahead and read me down your list.
At number 2, he's a real popular guy. I mean, for me, I think this guy had the best team offseason acquisition, and it's Kyla Murray. I mean, last year, Arizona ran more plays than any other offense in the league. Kyla Murray has so much potential every single game. He's got that big game potential. I mean, he's got big targets. He can score at any moment. He can call his own number. I don't expect like 300 yards a game from him, but last year, I think he ran for about 800 yards. He had about 50 yards a game. Plus, he runs it in every other game. So he has about 8 or 9 touchdowns a season. So I think he's going to make up that time. And plus, like I said, that big game break is what you're looking for. So Kyla Murray is my number 2.
Okay, who's the acquisition you were talking about?
Well, it helps on both sides of the field, right? So
JJ Watt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you made it sound like there's another offensive piece there. So
no.
Right.
They picked up Connors. They picked up Connors as a running back, and they also picked up AJ Green, which is a deep threat.
Okay,
so,
AJ Green.
So I mean, they got a little bit more room.
Jury's out on him.
Already were the fastest offense in the league, so it's not like they had to go far. They were already there.
All right.
JJ Watt, good one though.
Yeah. I got to make sure I know. All right, what you got next?
All right, so at number 3, I know this is going to be different from a lot of consensus rankings. I have Russell Wilson at number 3. There's no better quarterback in the first half of the season than Russell Wilson. He had an MVP season last season, and I think that he was overlooked because of the way he finished. Other than Mahomes, I think he's the most consistent quarterback. I think if you're looking for a quarterback that's going to get you points every single week, Russell Wilson is the guy that'll do that.
Okay. What do you got next?
At number 4, I was really hoping this news would come out before we started recording about what's going to happen with him, but I have Aaron Rodgers at number 4. Come on, this guy had 48 touchdowns last year. Okay, like that's somebody you want on your team.
I buy into that. All right.
Yeah. So he finished 3rd last year. I mean, so I put him at 4. I mean, I think that's pretty fair.
All right, keep going. What else you got?
Okay, at number 5, I have Josh Allen, last year's number 1. That very late round pick. That's what you want, right? People who drafted Josh Allen last year probably won the championship because of Josh Allen.
Oh, they definitely went far. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So Josh Allen, now I guess me putting him at 5, I'm kind of down on him, but that's just saying that he's not going to repeat as number 1. I mean, it's really not that far of a drop. I still think he's a worthy quarterback. He's top 5. I just think that he had a lot of big plays, and most of his success came late in the season.
Okay. Number 6.
The return of Dak. Dak is exciting. Before he got hurt last year, he was probably 1 or 2. So, I mean, he was averaging like 371 yards passing per game, almost 2 touchdown passes per game. He's got, I mean, when you think of offensive weapons, Dallas has offensive weapons. I mean, they have a run game, they have a passing game. So his ceiling and big play potential is extremely high.
Okay.
Yeah, he could definitely carry your team like Lamar Jackson did in 2019. He could be that guy.
All right. What else? What you got next?
Okay. At number 7, I have Tom Brady. So I think Tom Brady, it's interesting that he's ranked so high because for every year, people were pushing him down the line, right? As he got older. Now that he's 43 years old, he's finally getting some credit, which is weird because he's 7-time Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
Finally getting credit.
Yeah. It takes a while sometimes.
Right. So,
that's strictly to do with he's never had an offense like this before. So it's a little bit different.
And that's my point.
You can't go back and name, in his 20 years on the Pats, you can maybe name 3 receivers.
Yes. Yes.
And none of them were starters on any other team.
No.
Julian Edelman wouldn't start anywhere else. Wes Welker wouldn't have started anywhere else. Right? Like, I mean, come on. Other than Gronk at tight end, and Randy Moss those couple years, like, come on, get out of here.
Yeah. But that's about it, though. I mean, you're talking about over 20 years.
Yeah.
But like you just said, though, can you think of a better receiving core than the Bucks? I mean, you could probably put some in the mix, but the Bucks, I mean, you got Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Come on.
Gronk. Yeah, I get it.
And Gronk, yeah.
Yeah. No, they're definitely a great team.
Yeah. So I think Tom Brady, and plus, all that talk about how he picked it up the last half of the season because he didn't know the playbook. So now he's supposed to be better. Yeah.
All right. So let's round out the last few, and then we can start getting deep diving a little bit more into our differences. Okay. So we got what? Who's your last 2, 4, 5? Yeah, your last 5.
So out there. The last 5 after Tom Brady, I have Joe Burrow. Following Joe Burrow, I have Justin Herbert, then Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson, and Matthew Stafford.
Okay. All right. I'm definitely going to break down your list a little bit more, but, I'm going to go ahead and throw my list out there real quick first and, give a chance of letting everybody see what I got. And, we'll go from there, and then we'll break down each other's lists, and we'll combat them a little bit. Cause I got some questions about yours, and I know you're gonna have some questions about mine. So, here we go though. I'm going to throw mine up on the screen for those of you who are watching at home. For those of you who aren't, obviously number 1, no need to say anything. It's Pat Mahomes. Dude had 38 touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, over 4,000 yards. Guy's a beast, right? You got Josh Allen, number 2 for me. I think, he, with his potential of being able to run, he had more rushing yards and more rushing TDs than Patrick Mahomes and almost as many yards as him. I don't necessarily see that dipping hugely. He's one of those quarterbacks who has been slowly progressing better and better. So I don't see him having that kind of drop. This is where I know it's going to start changing. Number 3, I got Lamar Jackson making a comeback. Okay. We went through a down season last year where it was a sophomore slump. He had no training time or training camp time. So he wasn't available there in order to be able to build rapport, go through the playbook, things of that nature. So I'm a little bit higher on Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to have another comeback monster year. I mean, the dude had 1,000 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns. I think he's going to get to, close to, 3,500 yards passing possibly. So I'm a little bit higher on him. Next, I got Kyla Murray. I think you said a lot about him. I really don't need to comment. I got Dak at number 5, which is actually, a little bit higher than what you had. I got Russell Wilson at number 6. Mm-hmm. I got Justin Herbert at number 7. I got Aaron Rodgers at number 8. I got Tom Brady at number 9. I got Matthew Stafford at number 10. I got Joe Burrow at number 11. And I got everybody's favorite number 12, Carson Wentz.
Wow.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, on that note, so look, I really, really love your list. I mean, we just shared each other's list, not even 10 minutes ago, and they're pretty similar, except for Lamar Jackson. You have him a lot higher than I do. As you just said, you're a lot higher than most.
Yes. And I think, I feel like he's going to have a resurgent year. I just feel they're going to invest everything they need to in order to ensure that he has a good season. And I don't know. I think we could be looking at what we got 2 years ago.
Well, let me ask you this. So what did they do to help Lamar Jackson?
I think just having OTAs, giving him more time to get ready. Remember, they were virtual. They were shut down. I know he's out there doing things, but he's not with the coaches. He's not with his teammates. I think the opportunity of an off season is going to go a long way for Lamar, right?
Because don't get me wrong. Lamar Jackson is incredibly talented. I just the acquisitions in the offseason, I just didn't see it. Who'd they pick up? Bateman? I mean, for me, I just don't think they did enough.
But they have players around him, just like they did 2 years ago, right? It's just the difference is defenses picked up a little bit more on how to handle him, how to play him, and I don't think he was prepared for that the same way. Now he's a year in, he's prepared, he's ready, and I think he could come out and do some damage, personally. And that's just, so I know he's I got talented. Him a little higher.
He definitely has that big game play ability. I mean, for sure. I mean, if he's around late, I'm definitely taking him. I mean, I'm not knocking the guy. I mean, he's definitely QB1.
Yeah. So I definitely, I think one of the ones that stood out for me, which, I didn't put Aaron Rodgers as high as you did because no matter where Aaron Rodgers is, he's going to be a top quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to be a top 12. But with everything looming, we don't know if he's going to be in Green Bay or not. I had to drop him down on my list. So I have him at number 8. You have him at number 4, right? 4. So I had to put him lower because I don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers yet.
Let me ask you this, though. What if Green Bay somehow acquires Julio Jones?
Listen, until Aaron Rodgers tells me that until we hear even if without Julio Jones, if Aaron Rodgers goes back to Green Bay, he shoots up my list flat out. Okay. Point blank. He'll probably go up to number 5 at least, right? He's shooting up my list, but until then, I don't know. I can't, I'm trying to base things on the information I have now. Right.
Okay. It's early. Yeah, it's early. Things will change.
The big thing that the one thing I like about yours that I didn't love is I have Herbert ranked way better than Burrow. I think Justin Herbert, the team he's around, his ability, he's going to be a better quarterback than Joe Burrow. I mean, just watching what he did last year, I would never, right now, I couldn't put Burrow over Herbert. That's just me.
I could see that, though, because I think if Eckler stays healthy, Justin Herbert definitely has the opportunity to utilize him. And he's got that breakaway speed. He's a pass catcher. Yeah, absolutely. But I just put Herbert exactly where he finished last season, 9th. I have him 9th. I just didn't think that they did anything to really improve. I mean, they lost
I think that's where you make a mistake, right? It's not about what they did to improve. It's what he can do to improve, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, they added a receiver for Joe Burrow, right? Mm. But they don't have what they do in the line where they're hurting the worst. So, I don't know. It's one of those things. I also think you got Matthew Stafford low. I would not have put him below Kirk Cousins.
Ooh. I like that, though. I appreciate that, though. I mean, I'm not hating on that. I think I really wanted to put him up there. I mean, I'm telling you,
definitely better than Kirk Cousins. Come on, bro. You're going to tell me Matthew Stafford going into that offense with those weapons is going to do better than Kirk Cousins?
It's a new offense.
It doesn't matter. It's Kirk Cousins. Come on.
You like that? You like that?
So what do you got to say about mine? I know. Go ahead. I'm ripping yours apart. Go ahead.
No. I think we're pretty close. I mean, off by a couple of slots. It's no big deal. But let me go back to Herbert real quick, though. I do agree with you as I see him improving. And typically when you see quarterbacks improve, what they'll do is they'll take something away and improve something else, So he was a runner kind of last year. He scored 5 touchdowns on his feet. That's a lot. for a quarterback, and they wanted to be more of a passer. I just see a little bit regression in the running game and a little bit of improvement in the passing game.
I get it,
but that's where he keeps it equal.
Okay, so I get it, but Joe Burrow had 3 touchdowns before he got hurt. So I mean, it's not like they're not running the same amount, right? It's not like they're crazy amount of runnings. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you come out of rookie, and I know Burrow got hurt, but
you
know, 40 touchdowns. Or no, excuse me, 31 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. That's not shabby, man. Over 4,000 yards.
No, not bad at all.
This dude is legit, campaign. And I just see him with a better team around him and just better coaching, possibly. We'll see. You never know.
So yeah, but my argument about Joe Burrow, you have him 11. So, and everybody's low on him, and I get that, but it's just like I don't understand how they can be so high on the receivers and so low on the quarterback when there's 3 of them. We're talking about 3 receivers.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, right? Where do you rank Julio Jones in Atlanta? Where do you rank Calvin Ridley? Right?
Yeah.
Where's everybody about to rank Pitts? But you know who I don't see on your top 12? Matt Ryan.
Agree. I like to pair my quarterbacks and receivers, right? Your core and then your quarterbacks, they kind of go together, right?
Yeah.
That's why you got Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey and Hill, right? Yeah. They're up high.
Yep.
And I think that works most of the time, but sometimes you can't just do one quarterback and one receiver, like, one QB one and one wide receiver one. It doesn't work like that. You have to have a team, a system. So, but no, you're absolutely right. Matt Stafford, you're talking about Matt Ryan.
Yeah, that's what I said. Matt Ryan's not even on your list.
He's
but
not.
we have receivers for him for days. You put his rookie tight end.
You're right.
His rookie tight end in your top 12. Okay. We know that Julio is going to be in the top 4 probably when we do our receivers, and Calvin Ridley is going to be top 24 maybe.
I have him higher.
I'm just saying, right? Yeah. So we're talking about 3 players right there, 3 players, but we don't have them as top 12.
That's a point. Yeah, so absolutely.
It's just
you're absolutely
things.
Right.
All right.
We should expand the list to top 13. Maybe we'll flip it.
So anything else you want to say before we move into some other topics?
So you comment on Stafford. I really like that. I agree with that. But how about that last one?
Oh, that's the gem. First of all, that's for a special somebody I know.
I'm so sad.
I can't even
hold on.
Justify.
Come on. I think you like it. Woo! Fuck you, motherfuckers.
So I know you didn't get to hear that drop, but the person who that pick's for, I just did a drop of them singing. They're so excited. But anyway, so I'm not as low on him as everybody else. I think Carson Wentz is going back to his system that he's familiar with, because he's going back to his old offensive coordinator when he played at an MVP level, number 1. Number 2, he has a team around him that is just as good or better than the team that he played at MVP level at when they won the Super Bowl that year. Okay? The last 2 years, his team stunk. His team that he's going around now, that offensive line, that running game, the receivers, I'm telling you, Carson Wentz is having a resurgence. And I'm telling you, he will be a top 12 quarterback.
Okay. Let me write that down, because we're going to go back to that top 10 quarterback.
No, top 12.
Wentz. Top 12 quarterback.
Yes.
Carson Wentz. And I'm avoiding him.
Yes. That's your big stay away because that's what I was going to ask you. Like, is there anybody that you're just like, I'm not touching them?
For me, I think it's Baker Mayfield. Like, I think he burned me last year. So I think people are high on Baker. I'm not. I'm just not. Sorry. I don't know. I think they're just like a heavy run team. I just don't think he's that great of a quarterback. I'm not getting anywhere near Baker. And I know last year he was number 4, 5, something like that. Like, he was a top quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No. Mine would probably be Cam Newton.
Oh, I thought that was already assumed. I apologize.
Well, not to everybody, because remember,
I had him last year. I picked him up in my team. Thought he was going to be a nice little sleeper being on the Patriots. I thought that they would utilize him better. But yeah, man, he stunk. Actually, he didn't stink.
Well, you know what? I'll change it then. I'll give you somebody who's ranked higher in a lot of rankings out there that I'm watching. who's
Okay.
ranked higher that is a stay away from me.
Okay.
Okay. And this is on a lot of people's top 12 list. I
Okay.
want nothing to do with this guy. Jalen Hurst. Want nothing to do with him.
Wow. Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm glad you brought it up. Yep. Hurts. I drafted him in another league, and he was a roller coaster. One game he'd have 40 points, another game he would have nothing. So he's definitely like,
He only played a couple games too, but I just don't, I don't think he has a team around him that's going to do anything, right? Yes, they got a new receiver for him, granted, but they have then one receiver now on the team.
No, you're right.
You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
We don't know we don't know what's going to happen. He has a decent tight end, but the line's not great. The running back room's not great. It's not horrible. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I'm not a huge Eagles fan. I mean, obviously I got all this Giants gear on, but that has nothing to do with it. I just don't see the Eagles have to come out and show me something before I'm going to be that high on Jalen Hurst. I really, because of where he's drafted, that's the problem. Where he's drafted, I don't want him. I don't want to pick him there.
That's great, though. It's good for you because I think it's good sometimes to pick quarterbacks in the top 12 that you want to completely avoid, because then when they go, it triggers when you should take the guy that you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's great. I don't disagree. Jalen Hurts, I wouldn't draft him.
All right. So we're talking about players we're staying away from. So let me ask you this. Who's this year's breakout quarterback? And when I mean breakout, I mean the quarterback that is drafted late, like Josh Allen, like Lamar Jackson, that everybody looks at you and like, what are you doing drafting this guy, right? And that ends up being the absolute stud.
That's tough too, because a lot of these quarterbacks that could do that. I mean, Josh Allen wasn't a rookie, but he was only in his third year. So so you want to kind of pick that young guy that you weren't expecting. And I kind of already have Joe Burrow up there. He's not really like that crazy of a pick because
if they're in top 12, you can't use them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, somebody that could shock you, and it really depends. I mean, we're talking a brand new system. We're talking a brand new offense. We're talking brand new receivers, and we're talking a brand new quarterback. And this guy has Mahomes-esque ability. Now, I am extremely biased in this pick. I do hear that, but when you talk about
I thought you were going to go with your old boy, not your new boy. Okay.
But I'm just saying though, I'm not saying I didn't have him in my top. I'm not saying I'm going to draft him, although I might with my last pick. I just think that he's the unknown right now, and I think it's possible that he could have a breakout season. It's doubtful, but I think Zach Wilson is somebody
tough.
Might want to.
It's tough as a rookie. It's tough as a rookie. You got to learn a lot. So tough. I would never pick a rookie at that. I mean, I think that's very difficult to look at that way. Yeah. So it's totally definitely a bold choice there. Bold choice. So mine, and I know there's a guy in our league who's probably gonna love me saying this, but if I really had to think of somebody who could really do something special, Tua Tagovailoa. He has everything. He has players around him. Second year in the system. He has the natural talent. I could see him coming out and possibly shocking people.
Well, I'm glad we picked about the same level of player. Okay. I mean, they're ranked right next to each other.
So I'm just saying, like that could be somebody that could come out and shock everybody and just blow up. I thought you were going to say Sam Darnold first. So,
he's a streamer for me. I got Sam Darnold as one of those guys that you could pick up, on a matchup basis, and definitely a DFS quarterback that oh my God, I mean, you're talking DJ Moore. You got Curtis Samuels. I think he left. You got his old receiver, my old receiver,
Anderson,
Robert Anderson, Anderson. So absolutely he could definitely have some big games.
You mentioned about streamers. Let me ask you this. What do you think? What is a good strategy? Do you vote that you draft the guy you want, or do you feel like it's better sometimes to almost go no quarterback and just stream week to week based on matchup?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I go into the draft. I think everybody goes in hoping to walk out with Mahomes, right? But then I also have other players that I really need. So he's a luxury pick. So I think if a quarterback falls to you, you take them. But for me, I would wait. If we're in a 12-team PPR league, I think you have plenty of room to pick a quarterback later. I would just wait.
But what I'm saying is there's a difference between waiting, right? If you're going to get, like, do you look at drafting one of the top 12?
Yeah.
Or do you look at saying, I can go with drafting Matt Ryan in the last round, hypothetically, and streaming, week to week, like switching him out for a Tannehill or a Fitzpatrick, because he's going to have big games, right? Do you look at that, or you look at getting somebody who you feel that, okay, yeah, he's not going to be the greatest quarterback as far as points, but I know he's going to be consistent, and maybe every now and then I'll pick somebody else to fill in. Or do you go, because there's that theory that people go out there and they're like, look, I'm changing quarterbacks almost every week.
Right. They just stream every week. So I go in there with three things, right? So first, I'm going to go in there wanting Mahomes or a top quarterback. And if they fall to me, a value pick, I'm going to take them. Next, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a top 10 pick, like a top 10 quarterback. I think I'm going to make sure I get one of the top 10 picks. And then I think in the middle of the pack, I think I'll also look for another value pick down there. Like if one of these quarterbacks are going to fall, one of these top 10 quarterbacks are going to fall. So I think I'll go with one.
Yeah, exactly. It all depends on when people start hitting the buttons and stuff and going after them. So, no, yeah. I definitely agree. I'm just curious because everybody's different. And listen, I know a lot of people who stream quarterbacks and they do great with it. And then there's others who would rather spend it early and set it and forget it, and it's one of those things. And then sometimes you get lucky that you take that quarterback late, like a Josh Allen last year, who you think is going to be your streaming quarterback. And he is an every week absolute stud, right? So, but that's few and far between.
You definitely have to grab one of the top 10 though. I mean, you can see last year there was a little bit of a cliff as far as point differential. And I think it was only like 2 or 3 points from 10 to 11, but I mean, you got to grab one of them top 10 quarterbacks.
So if you don't get one of the top 10, are you just saying, screw it? I'll draft other players and then just stream. I mean, at that point, right? Because what's the point then after 10 is drafted? Why draft number 11 right away? Or do you worry about other people stacking up and getting secondary quarterbacks and stuff that now you're like, well, shit.
Yeah. No, you're right. I'm gonna get one of the top 10s, but if in the case that I don't, I will wait a little bit longer, and I'll definitely take anywhere from 11 to 15 or something like that. I think they're all the same at that point.
Okay. Well, one thing we're gonna do is we will have some tier episodes where we talk about drafting by tier and how that works and what it means to grade players in far as tier players instead of ranking them like we are, because there is a huge difference when you look at things that way. And you build your draft, mindset around that. So we'll definitely talk about that in other episodes. You have anything else you wanna go over before we start wrapping it up?
One quarterback we didn't bring up, and why not? This guy is a top quarterback in the NFL. Deshaun Watson. What do you do with him?
Good. That's a good. I meant to talk about him. You're right. So here's my thing. Once again, these are my early rankings. Just everybody, I've been saying it all along, just like my tight ends. These are early rankings. There's a lot of time left before I give out finalized what I'm looking to, like my actual thought process on draft orders. I'm staying away from them. Deshaun Watson.
So if the draft happened today, you're not touching him.
Absolutely not, because I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. It's too big of a risk versus reward. Last year he had the most receiving yards in the entire league, right? He had 33 touchdowns, 7 INTs, which isn't bad at all. He's a good quarterback. It's just, I don't know what's going to happen with him. He may not play in the NFL this year or ever again. And I just don't know. And I don't want a part of that. That's not what I'm looking to get involved in.
I don't disagree with you, but I tell you, if the draft happened today and if he fell to, what is he at, like 24, 25 or something in the ECR? Yeah. I'm drafting 2 quarterbacks in this league.
Though that's different, right? I'll take him. Listen, I'll take him in the last round because God forbid, he's that. But I'm just saying, we're talking about top 12. So that's why he's not on my top 12. But yes, if he makes it to the 15th, 16th, 17th round, yeah, I'm grabbing him. I don't care. Even if I have Patrick Mahomes, I'm grabbing him.
Oh yeah,
You know
absolutely.
why?
Could get a foot injury or toe injury.
Well,
or
it's not even
something.
that.
Yeah.
I make sure that nobody else has them. You know what I mean? Like, because,
Yep.
oh, now I got trade bait. I got, like whatever it
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
I completely agree.
So
Completely agree.
when I was doing my rankings, this guy, I really wanted to put him in the top 12, but I mean, there's just no room. And the thing is that his receiving core is just as good as some of these top 5 or better.
Who?
I'm talking about Ben Roethlisberger something over in Pittsburgh.
Forget it.
Like, but this guy has 3 receivers that's in the top 30.
Yeah.
Right? Claypool.
Listen, he's that. The thing about him is like, and once again, we're gonna get to tiers soon, right?
Mhm.
But you're talking about 11 through 15, right? After 10, you're like, oh, 11 through 15, it doesn't matter really at that point. I'll take any one of them. That's what he is. He's a 11 through 15 type of guy. It's not going to matter, right?
Finished 14 last year.
Let me ask you this. Now, see, this is where we differ. Because to me, Kirk Cousins and Ben Roethlisberger, it's like, okay, does it really matter which one I get, right? Ryan Tannehill, right? Is it like, I'm going to get good games. I'm going to get bad games. That's just the way it works. Like Tannehill's problem is he has a Derrick Henry game, right? He has that game where Derrick Henry runs for 250 yards, 4 touchdowns, and Tannehill didn't do shit. And then Tannehill has a game where, he blows up. But Big Ben, we don't, I don't know. He's too much of a question mark at his age.
How can we be bullish on the receivers but not the quarterback? Does that make any sense?
I told you why. We can be receiving and quarterbacking's different, bro.
I don't know. I think they have to go hand in hand a little bit.
No, because you know what the difference is? Let me ask you this. How do you get negative points from a receiver?
Fumbles.
That's it.
Fumbles.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quarterbacks. Interceptions.
Fumbles.
Right? So you can have a quarterback that goes out there and pulls.
I think it's Matt Ryan. I think that's a Matt Ryan thing.
Well, no, wasn't it Baker? Or who was it that went 30? No, it's Winston, right? Was Jameis Winston a great streaming quarterback? 30 for 30? 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions?
He was the only quarterback to have the most passing yards and the most interceptions. He's like a regular Brett Favre.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not great for fantasy football, though. You didn't want to play him, right?
5,000 yards. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
But guess what? You wanted his receivers. Because he's throwing 30 touchdowns. He's throwing 5,000 yards. But you didn't want to part of that 30.
Ben's a streamer. You're bye week guy. Okay.
See what I'm talking about? That's the point.
I'll buy that. All
right. So I think that's all the time we have for today. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up on this episode of Quarterback Rankings. We will be getting into more content. We're going to start doing some more things. Once again, we're just starting out. We want to be able to have you guys comment. Let us know what you think of the show below. Subscribe, hit the like button, notifications. But the main thing is we are going to get into some different aspects of the show as we, start to move along. But right now, we're just keeping it simple. We're keeping it sweet. And we appreciate everybody for tuning in. For Generation Sports, I got Gronk's Eskimo's brother. And you got your boy, the monster on the mic, Check Monster. We're out.